The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome back to Old Space Show. I'm Brandon, and this is my companion. We are Brandon's two, Steven.
Hi there.
Or it could be Steven's too. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The series of Old Space Show follows the intergalactic swashbuckling escape antics of Raj Blake and his ruffian crew in the first season of Blake's 7. Today, we are discussing the 8th episode, Duel.
In this episode, Travis has tracked down Blake and trapped the Liberator, but a power-draining force field from a mysterious dead planet forces the two men into single hand-to-hand combat, a duel to the death.
All right, this one is directed by Douglas Camfield. I'm going to
betcha.
Pause it, Steven. Let everyone know about the great Douglas Camfield.
Douglas Camfield might be the greatest director of Doctor Who in the original series. I mean, I love Graham Harper. He only does 2 stories. By the sheer amount of work that is done, Douglas Camfield is just superb. He in fact directed the a fight scene in the very first story back in 1963 of Doctor Who in the Cave People episode. But he has directed many a Doctor Who story. He was done directing Doctor Who by this point, though. He'd finished with The Seeds of Doom in 1976, and so I'm trying to remember if he had directed more after this for Blake's 7, or if this
is it.
This is it.
This is our one shot at him, yeah.
One and only, which means that, I mean, he has many hallmarks as Douglas Camfield. One of those hallmarks is never using Dudley Simpson for music. So this is a very rare Blake 7 episode that does not have any music by Dudley Simpson at all. I think it's entirely provided by the Radiophonic Workshop. And it's a different soundscape, obviously, without that traditional music going on. But it sets the stage for a much more interesting episode, I think.
Yeah. I will note that sometimes, depending on my day of week, Seeds of Doom might be my favorite classic Who serial. So, yes, right there. And Inferno's up there with me, too. So
yeah, both of them.
I mean, yeah, he's great. And immediately you can tell a difference here that he has got talent with this episode, just when you're watching it. But before we go gloat about his wonderful work here, of course, Terry Nation, the credits have him as the writer. It stars Gareth Thomas, Sally Nivette, Paul Darrow, Jan Chappell, Michael Keating, David Jackson, Peter Tuddenham, Stephen Grief, Isla Blair, Patsy Smart, and Carol Royal.
That's right. Isla Blair and Patsy Smart had been in Doctor Who. Isla Blair would be in Doctor Who, actually. Mm-hmm. She was in The King's Demons, once again, off the top of my head. Also the wife of Julian Glover, still to this day.
Mm-hmm. And she appeared in Indiana Jones, too. Right?
That's right.
She as his wife.
As his wife, exactly.
Last Crusade, yeah.
Patsy Smart, I didn't actually realize this is Patsy Smart until I saw the credit. Patsy Smart is legendary for her very small performance in episode 1 of The Talons of Wang Chiang, playing the old crone who spotted the guy in the river. Oh, make it sick, that one. I've never seen anything like it, and oh my puff. That is Patsy Smart, and she's in Blake 7.
All right.
Yep.
I love it. I dug this episode, too. It's got this, like, right from the start, something just feels great about it. It's got this like little prologue with these women that are god witch-like beings on this, and it's got a cool set, It's got nice lighting, the makeup and stuff. It's a great hook. And it's cool. These two have these conversations. It's like, ooh, this is intriguing. And then we cut to cheap models in space.
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, there's some some trippy blue screen work going on as well in this episode too. But yeah, you're right. Cheap models in space.
It was like, ooh, it's like big thunderstorm, like this cool space background. The set, it's lit well, all this, and then just like, look at them hanging on strings.
Yep.
Yeah. It cracked me up. I was like, oh wow. Because I was like, "Ooh, this is wow, this is cool." And
I know this is like this weird, dark, and mysterious and everything. And no, it's either going to be cheap models in space on strings or cartoon cutouts, which is it's either or depending on which episode you're going to watch.
Yeah, very true, very true. But all in all, it doesn't matter. So this one, we get Travis back, and because the Liberator needs to recharge. I didn't know that was a thing, but it is for an episode.
Very convenient. Got to fill up sometime.
So they got to hang out where the planet of the Blue Women is, and there's a good line. Blake's like, I feel I've offended Zen's pride, and then Avon says, "It's just a machine, Blake."
Just stomps on his fun 100%. I love that. Just an utter pedant. That made me laugh too.
We meet a new creature, the Mutoid.
Yeah, they mentioned mutoids before.
They did.
Yep.
Had we seen any, or is this the first where we see that? Because I can't remember if they were a background or because I've seen the whole series before, and I'm like, wait, am I remembering them from other episodes?
No, I think you're right. I think this is the first time we actually see them. I know he mentions them. Travis mentions them in Seek, Locate, Destroy because they say only mutoids.
Because he could have been one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, only mutoids would be a crew, or would agree to work with you because everyone hates him in the Federation because he's a loose cannon. He's a loose cannon, is Travis, and only mutoids would work with him. And so they do some, some explanation of who they are and the fact that they have to rely on this, for lack of a better term, hydromel. If fans of Doctor Who Terminus from 1983 know what I'm talking about, the little green liquid that they stick in their chest.
Yeah.
That's what keeps them going. That's what keeps the mutoid going, apparently. So,
yeah, but they call them vampires or whatever. But so this one has this. Not necessarily the most dangerous game, but this kind of classic take on 1 versus 1 in a some sort of arena, which is a woods, of course.
It's just 15 miles west of BBC Television Center, essentially. Yep.
Yeah. So like they have to. Blake, was this one where he like, all right, we're just gonna like the pursuit ships come. And he's like, you know what, we're just gonna fly straight at him. And then everything goes forever. It's like we have the episode came in short, and they're like, I know how to fill it with time.
Right.
I know how to get those extra 3 minutes.
I just I stumbled on my YouTube algorithm knows me very well, and it presented me with this historic look at the video disc machine. The video disc machine was essentially the precursor for like video replay in sports. It was made for sports essentially, or video replay, in that it was this giant disc that spun very, very fast, and it could save a video image, a live image, like the last 30 seconds of it. It would just sort of like be automatically saved to it, so you could roll it back. Because if you try to roll back 2-inch videotape, you'd see the heads move, and you see like you remember when you would pause a VHS tape, and it would just like there'd be lines all over the screen. Yep. That's what would happen. Not with a video disc. Not with a video disc player. So I think, obviously, they said, hey, BBC Sports Department, can we borrow your video disc player because we need to slow down some video? Also, while you're at it, if basically they call up John Madden and said, listen, can we borrow your telestrator as well? Because there's that hilarious scene where Blake says, come on, everyone, let's look at the screen. And he pulls out this little computer
plays.
notepad. he draws a little thing, and they make such a big thing about it. He's just like, there, this one's here. So we go, and he's drawing. Okay, ready, hike.
You get the ball right here. You go around here. You're going to block this guy, Jenna. You're going to block this one. You go around. You go deep. You run a route post over here. Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was good. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so they obviously got some new toys in the department. So kudos for Douglas Camfield. It's like, let's get some toys from the sports department to try to jazz up this episode a little bit.
Yes. So yeah, we have around time. So we have this quick moment of beaming down. We like kind of. It's kind of like to like make Gan feel like he did something in this episode. So Blake, Jen, and Gan go down, and like he says something about making sure Villa, like, yo, make sure you get us back here. He's like, how can you doubt me? He's like, it isn't easy, but somehow I manage it. But they go down just to kind of look at the planet, and Gan sees like a woman, and then one of the women, she disappears, and then they're like, oh, this is like a memorial to the dead, and says Logic says we're dead, and so Logic doesn't know what dead means. But then they go back, and that's when I think the pursuit thing happens, the slow motion. But then, and when we get Travis and Blake down to the planet, and it's like, hey, they get this whole explanation about this background of like, we killed each other, and so we make people kill each other. Like,
yeah,
that's what we do. Like,
okay, it's just how we do this, and it's just like 1 versus 1 until one of you dies, and then that's how we.
But we bring another person, so it's 2 on 2, but 1 versus 1.
So you have someone else to talk to, essentially, and that's pretty much what it is. Otherwise, it would be, it would basically be the Deadly Assassin Part 3, where it would be Travis and Blake wandering, because Blake is many things, but he's not one to talk to himself in a scene.
No.
I
Travis
guess right.
could. Travis could. I'm gonna get you, Blake. I'm gonna go around. And Blake, sharpen my stick. Because they don't want to have to cut to Gan saying something on the ship every once in a while. They need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
So, these gods are the younger one's Sinafar, and the other one's G-Rock, spelled with a G.
Yeah.
But so they're like, hey, Blake and Travis, we're gonna throw you somewhere. Winner is the guy that kills the other, but we also need to put someone you care about there, and like they're supposed to die, and then I didn't understand that. That was some gobbledygook.
They do a lot of legwork to try and justify A, the fight, B, some jeopardy to the fight outside of Blake has to kill Travis or vice versa, and C, basically setting up that Blake, obviously Travis can't win because he'll kill Blake. Blake can't win because he won't kill Travis, so they basically had to set it up. It's a very elaborate and mildly entertaining setup,
right?
To have this duel, which they know that really can't result in anything actually concrete happening to the whole show.
And it's funny, they'd be like, yeah, someone you care about, so they bring the mutoid down for Travis.
Because there's no one else. There's no one. Literally the only other speaking character on his ship is
right.
So I will bring you, I guess. I mean, you seem to know her, I guess, so come on down.
Yep, she's there. And then, like, right when it starts, like, Blake has this, like, headache thing, and then Travis is, like, about to kill him, and they're like, oh, well, restart, false start.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so, yeah, we have Jenna, who said she finally meets up with Blake. She's like, seems your weird ladies picked me to be your death of a friend.
The show really, I mean, especially at the end, we might get to it, is really sort of trying to steer everyone into thinking that Blake and Jenna are going to become a thing.
And it's not there.
No, I feel like the main two people who aren't on board with this idea are Blake and Jenna. I just don't think either of them are interested in this whatsoever, either the actors or the characters. Yet they keep being put into situations that are supposed to be like that. And at the very end of the episode, fine, I'll mention it. It's like, oh, what was your woman like? Oh, she's very beautiful, I guess. And then, as if to try to make Jenna jealous in the background, like, oh. maybe something. No, nothing's developing.
Nothing.
Spoilers. Nothing will develop between Blake and Jenna. Despite this, might be the closest I think they might get.
Right.
In an episode of Blake 7. I think this might be the such as it is the climax to the Blake and Jenna shipping storyline.
Yeah. Because I don't think it's the only time she transports with somebody, it's Blake, or else she's left on the ship. That's it. Mm-hmm. She's there. They have these, just prep. It's a lot of preparation. There's not like a bunch of interactions and mini confrontations or close calls or spying. It is, well, when I'm gonna do this, like Travis is like setting a trap, and then I think Blake just ends up getting bored and be like, well, let's go find him.
Yeah. There isn't a lot of cat and mouse, is there? There's not like one-upmanship here, or like avoiding one trap and then getting into another or anything like that. It is kind of like, well, there's the trap, there's the big grate that sort of falls down on Jenna, and that's it, I guess. But then we have a girl fight. Yay, girl fights, because it's the 70s, with Jenna and the
girl
Mutoid.
Fights girl, boy fights boy.
That's how it works. If you're writing a TV show in the 1970s and 80s and 90s and 2000s, that's how it works. Thankfully, we've more or less, hopefully, moved past that sort of thing. But this is 1979, and this is what they did. I do. I mean, it wasn't much of a duel. Let's face it. There wasn't as much of a battle between the two, or a cat and mouse. They were just sort of stuck on that planet, probably in January or something. It looked kind of cold as they're starting to shoot these things now, and it didn't quite. I don't know. I don't know. How'd you feel about this one?
I mean, I really enjoyed discussing it. Has pointed out a lot more than of silliness and stuff that just kind of like, then I was watching it. I was really enjoying it. I liked the direction of it. I thought it was one of the better produced episodes, and there was some funny stuff. Like everybody back on the ship is just watching it like it's a TV show.
That was hilarious.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know. They just everyone just crowding around. I'm surprised Gan didn't bring the drinks then too. They go, you want some drinks here? We all right here? I'll wait for drinks. You want some popcorn? You want Billy? You want some popcorn? Okay, we'll get some popcorn going for you.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that. I like the two She-Rock and Cinefar characters are interesting to me. Just we don't get a lot of. Well, we get like a lot. Way too much about their people, but like about them, they're just kind of nice yin and yang to each other. There's some clever, there's some good lines I like too. I was writing down lines of dialogue a bit more. There's like the Jenna and Blake have a conversation where she says, "Do you believe what they told us about themselves?" And he goes, "That's that much power. Why bother to lie?" And she goes, "That's one way to become the hunted man. Trust the powerful." I like that. And then there was one, Travis, the mutoid. She goes, do you believe that mutoids are vampires? And he goes, "I believe you're useful."
That's very Travis. Very Travis. Yeah.
And they have the weird thing. I mean, I think this episode's set to teach us about mutoids a bit too secretly, because they're going to be used in other episodes. But she doesn't get her blood, the green stuff, so she weakens and can't chop a rope, but also she gets Jenna, and this needle comes out of her wrist. Was she gonna draw blood from her, or what was that thing?
I don't know. Does she drink the blood? Is she a proper vampire?
Because I'm like, Jenna doesn't have green blood, I don't think.
Yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree here, I think,
Yeah, it's like, or can you take human blood for a short period or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's a lot of location footage. So there's a lot of film stuff, which I like. And I have to say, there was one hilarious moment. I don't know if it was a reshoot, if there was a pickup shot, but it's all in the forest. It's all on film. And then there's this one random shot of Travis and the mutoid with this ultimate CSO background on film. And I was like, what happened here?
Probably a pickup. And you know what? It probably happens a lot in today's day and age, and they have to shoot it on some blue screen or green screen, but it's a lot more noticeable in 1978.
Yeah, I was like, oh, did they get back and forget a page of the script? Like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a moment like, oh, that was jarring, and it's like the way they're lighting it is way off, and like the interior of shooting it in the interior of the Liberator would have been more believable than what they gave us.
I know. Yeah. It was odd. It was odd.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like you said, the girl versus girl, boy versus boy thing, of course, was going to happen. But in the one-on-one battle, right? The one-on-one. Blake, of course, Blake's not going to kill, and that was the right thing to do.
Right, because he's the proper hero. He's the hero with morals. That's what makes him better than Travis.
Yep, and then these two women could recharge the Liberator like that and give him a head start. And Blake's, another reason I didn't kill Travis, I would have enjoyed it.
Ooh. Although there is one line that I just remembered is Avon's, where he goes, "I've never understood why it should be necessary to become irrational in order to prove that you care, or indeed why it should be necessary to prove it at all." I like that.
Yes.
That's a nice inset into Avon, because he often has this sort of aloof air to him, without like, oh, I don't care about Blake. In fact, I want him gone so I can take the Liberator. But you get the impression that he legitimately does care about him, but he never lets his guard down.
Mm-hmm. He wants. I think part of it is he sort of needs Blake, and he needs him in a way where he has to live to prove him wrong, to show him certain things about the world or something like that. They're yin and yang to each other, and then there's like Jenna and Gan who are there, and Villa. But
Villa, who sits and almost falls asleep.
Yeah, he has not traveled in a long time. Gan barely got to. He's curious about Cinefar.
Yep.
We only got to see the old woman. Like, okay.
Yeah, I am. Listen, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but I am mildly surprised that the outfit they gave Cinefar passed the censors when it came to airing on BBC, because that thing is gossamer thin. Very interesting costuming decision, shall we say?
And they start out blue and end up regular skin, or white people. Not white as in painted white, but like white as in Caucasian.
Caucasian, yeah.
So I was, maybe they just were like, you know what, I'm done, not wearing that anymore.
Was that intentional, or was it just CSO blue screen?
True.
Who can tell?
True. Yeah, there's plenty of CSO stuff. And then Travis, the mutoid dying, and Cinefor's like, I could heal her, and she's like, she's no value to me. Mm-hmm. And the other one likes Travis though. Mm-hmm. But they were like, hey, don't ever come back here, Travis. We don't like you.
Done.
Go away.
Yeah.
And then, back on the ship, Travis accosts the mutoid. He says, your failure cost me, Blake. He made one fatal error. He should have killed me. Dun, 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 dun.
As we start to set up Travis failing again and again in his pursuit of Blake. Yeah, get used to that, Travis. Get used to it.
He never, poor Travis. Can't pick up a win, even when he thinks he can.
Yep.
But yeah, this duel, did you like this one, Steven?
I did. We kind of like, it's easier to watch than it is to talk about, I think.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
it's a more of an action episode, especially compared to the previous week with Mission to Destiny, which is all talking in rooms and trying to.
Which I'm surprised killers. Terry Nation didn't call it Fight Planet or something like.
Yeah, he didn't even name the planet. The planet doesn't even have a name. He just left it on the table there. Just like, very odd.
Yeah, but it's a fun. I think the holes poke when you start talking about this one, and it's like, it's pretty straightforward after it's like long first act, but this was up there. I like having Travis back. It adds an energy, like we were talking about. The Federation presence of between Servalan and Travis will always add the necessary energy to make an episode pretty good.
Yeah,
stand out. And then we get the mutoid introduction too, which is very cool.
That's true. I like the mutoids. They're creepy enough yet endearing enough. I don't know. They're efficient. They're not the sort of the faceless Federation soldiers. I quite like them compared to that,
Mm-hmm. That's that low-key cosplay I want to see. Be like, oh, Mutoid from Blake 7, right? Oh,
that would be so
you know?
cool.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing. Yeah. Would dig to see at a convention or something. So, okay. Well, Steven, let's set your course again for Earth. But before we give it to the Federation, give people your information.
I am on Twitter at Legopolis. I'm also on 3 Doctor Who podcasts, Radio Free Scarro, Lazy Doctor Who, and The Memory Cheats.
All right. Which that should be coming back soon, right?
Yeah. Oh, 2023 is when it's coming back.
Okay.
So I'll say more.
You're going to put some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Hashtag Cinephar single ready to Don't know if that worked out too well, but I'm on Twitter and Instagram, Brand4KUHD. Written work on whysoblue.com. There's more from the Brandon Peters Show, all new next week. Should be returning to normal programming or something. But from Old Space,
if it takes all my life, I will destroy you, Blake. I will destroy you. I will destroy you.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.